Actually, he would have been sent to the specific area as opposed to the President of the United States. That was what he did mention about the nuclear accident at Harrisburg.
Okay, thank you very much. That was, of course, Jane Mitchell broadcasting live from the dinner at St. Paul, where Walter Mondale is addressing the DFLers. And later on in this newscast, we'll have some comments from the President of the United States on what went on at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, almost 2 weeks ago. Speaking of the DFL party spent most of today discussing ways to heal some of the party wounds. Our Chick McEwen covered that story and has this report.
The issue before the DFL Central Committee today was a very sticky one. Feelings were strong on both sides. The question was whether or not the DFLers who supported Bob Short in the primary last year should be punished. It would be done by changing the bylaws to provide that state and national convention delegates be chosen on the basis of DFL votes for party-endorsed candidates. In other words, it would realign the delegate numbers from many parts of the state on the basis of the vote in their area.
But it's also wrong in principle. Those who are advocating it, I'm certain, are well-meaning people who want to strengthen the endorsement system. The effect of this passage would be exactly the opposite, and I hope that everyone, especially those who believe in the endorsement system, would vote against this. Thank you.
I thought all of the people that spoke up in Duluth said, hey, let's bring party unity back. And all of a sudden I'm reading a call and I'm seeing all of this garbage that is thrown within the party that we're voting on right now. And I'm just really appalled at what's going on here of bringing party unity. I think you're separating everybody.
The amendment got yes votes from more than half the delegates present, but not a majority of the 502 delegates. So, for the effect of it all was to leave the issue just where it was earlier. Nobody really won today, nobody really lost, and for the moment, no DFLers are about to be punished for supporting Bob Short. For News Center 11, this is Chick McEwen at the DFL Central Committee meeting in St. Paul.
And turning now from our political file to our police file, a suspect is being held tonight in connection with yesterday's shooting death of a Minneapolis man. Jerisi Mahan was shot during an argument at 1830 Penn Avenue North. When our News Center 11 cameraman Tim Fisher went out to the scene today, he was threatened by a resident and told to leave. And since it's legal to shoot film or tape on public property, Fisher returned later with several Minneapolis police officers, and here's what's happened when our photographer arrived the second time and started his tape camera.
Take this camera out.
Don't touch him, Jane. Don't touch him.
I can't. That's my house. That's my property.
You have a right to take pictures if you
They don't have a right if I don't want them. That's my... Hey, don't hit me in the chest with that thing.
hit you. Your boy hit you there. I ain't no boy. I'm a grown man.
I have the right to protect my property. That's my civil liberties. That's my right.
Here's the thing.
It's quite a moment for a little while for Tim Fisher. In other news, tonight St. Paul police are continuing their investigation into the death of a St. Paul man. The body of a 28-year-old man by the name of Rudy Suacedo was found in East St. Paul early this morning. Police say they have no suspect in custody at this time. About 3,000 anti-nuclear demonstrators gathered in Groton, Connecticut today, where First Lady Rosalind Carter launched the world's newest and largest nuclear power submarine, the Trident. Some 230 demonstrators were arrested for disturbing the peace at that time. Meanwhile, President Carter was busy politicking in Virginia tonight. In a speech in Richmond, Mr. Carter told the crowd that he is prepared for a major showdown fight with the oil companies who might fight his proposed windfall profits tax. The president also commented on the accident at Pennsylvania's 3 Mile Island. Mr. Carter said that the fear caused by that incident will remind Americans of the potential destructiveness of a nuclear exchange between Moscow and Washington. Pennsylvania Governor Dick Thornburg today asked pregnant mothers and children to remain outside of that 5-mile ring around the nuclear power plant at 3 Mile Island. Officials still are not sure on how serious the fallout in the area was and what its effects will eventually be. NBC's Robert Vizell has this report.
Since the accident at 3 Mile Island, officials have been monitoring radiation levels in the surrounding area.
0.01.
And assuring residents there was little danger. Similar optimism was voiced when federal health officials appeared last Wednesday before the Senate Health Subcommittee. Dr. Julius Richmond.
The population in general seems to be at no significant risk.
But at that same hearing, some scientists testified that it was not so easy to be complacent. Dr. Jacob Fabricant.
We do not know what the risks are at very low levels of dose.
We do not know what the fundamental mechanisms of radiation carcinogenesis are. We do not know how to identify those persons or populations who are particularly susceptible to radiation injury.
Over the past 50 years, the government has dramatically lowered the dose of radiation considered safe. And some experts believe recent studies will force it lower still. One study concerns nuclear bomb tests in Nevada in 1957. Soldiers close to those tests got what was then considered a safe amount of radiation. Now, 20 years later, the group has a high incidence of leukemia. And workers at some nuclear facilities, including this shipyard in Maine, who were getting what was thought to be a safe dose, now seem to have a high cancer rate.
Coming up in just a moment, protests in Pakistan continue over the assassination of Ali Bhutto and more firing squads in Iran. We'll have those stories and others when News Center 11 for the 7th of April moves along.
We potatoes have been taking our lumps about being fattening, loaded with calories. Well, it's not us.
Tell 'em, Spike.
It's homemade gravy.
Gee, fellas,
Oh, sure, he's full of flavor, but he's loaded with calories, 300 to 600 a cup.
Yeah, that's for sure.
If you want gravy, make it new light gravy. Hi, guys, nice to meet you. Light here has all the flavor of homemade with about 10% of the calories. Around 40 calories a cup.
Light gravy, all the taste of homemade without all the calories. New from Schilling.
Looking for a personal car? Let Lincoln Mercury show you the light with Cougar XR7. Boldly styled with a handsome new grille. Luxuriously equipped with V8 automatic, power steering, power brakes, all standard. We're out to sell a total of 200,000 new cars in 6 weeks. And we've got a wide selection of exciting Cougar XR7 values in our big Shows You the Light sales drive.
Let your Lincoln Mercury dealer show you the light now.
Wendy's presents hot and juicy hamburgers. If you've ever had a dry, chewy hamburger, you're gonna love Wendy's hot and juicy hamburgers. Wendy's hot and juicy hamburgers. Juicy meat, juicy toppings, and lots of napkins.
There were more demonstrations today in Pakistan as Muslims denounced the execution 2 days ago of former Prime Minister Ali Bhutto. Lawyers meeting in London at an international convention declared that the trial of Bhutto failed to meet the minimum standards of justice. And there were more executions in Iran today. Former Iranian Prime Minister Amir Abbas Hovida was shot after a secret trial. Hovida was the highest-ranking member of the Shah's deposed government to be put to death thus far. Meanwhile, Iranian Revolutionary Police arrested the Shah's sister, Princess Fatima Pahlavi. She's reportedly to be under heavy security in prison tonight. There are no details at all on the charges against the princess. The details are very sketchy at this time. The governments of China and Vietnam announced today that they'll begin peace talks within a week. Chinese troops had invaded Vietnam in retaliation for the Vietnamese invasion of Cambodia. California Governor Jerry Brown is celebrating his 41st birthday tonight in Liberia, of all places. Helping him celebrate is singer Linda Ronstadt, who was with Brown on the 10-day African birthday safari. Friends say Brown agonized somewhat over the political consequences of vacationing with Ronstadt, but decided to go anyway. Brown is considered to be a contender for the 1980 Democratic presidential nomination, as you undoubtedly know. The host of NBC's Tomorrow Show, Tom Snyder, is taking on some extra duties as anchorman of a new weekly news magazine. New program will premiere in June and will replace another network show, Weekend. Snyder will continue as host of the Tomorrow program based from New York City. Well, the 50th Annual Academy Awards will be presented Monday night from beautiful Los Angeles, California. And everybody has their favorites, including News Center 11's entertainment editor Nancy Nelson, and I'm dying to find out who you think's going to win.
Well, then, Stan, you pay attention, because I do have a favorite. And Monday night, we will know the results of the votes, and one of the most anxiously awaited announcements will be the winner of Best Actor of the Year. The contenders are all remarkably talented men: Warren Beatty, Gary Busey, Sir Laurence Olivier, Robert De Niro, and the man I'm pulling for, Jon Voight. Voight is nominated for his role in Coming Home. Co-starring with Jane Fonda, he plays a paraplegic Vietnam veteran, bitter and frightened. He meets Jane Fonda, falls in love, and checks back into life. Voight is marvelous. He combines the look of an innocent child with the talent of a seasoned actor, and the result is a compassionate, emotional statement on the war and its victims. This is Voight's second bid for the Best Actor Oscar. Several years ago, he was nominated for his role in Midnight Cowboy. He lost that nomination, but it pleased him, and surprisingly, so did losing.
It was nice. It was very nice, but I think that it was so nice that I didn't win it, too.
Really?
I was really frightened that I was going to win it, because it's a funny experience, because I really don't think there's something nice about it. There's something silly about it, too. I think it's not the right kind of encouragement, I don't think. I don't think you give little stars to people to encourage them, you know, and I also don't think you create competition like that. I don't think that I would like to create that kind of competition within a family of mine, and so I don't want to be thrown into competition with other actors, you know, because we all have to work together.
Would be interesting, wouldn't it, to talk to him Monday night after the presentations? If he loses, I wonder if he'll feel the same this time around. I'm just hoping you won't have to find out. Stan, my fingers are crossed for Jon Voight for Best Actor.
And I wish I had time to ask you about Best Actress and Best Picture, but we'll just have to wait and see, huh?
Okay.
Okay, Nancy, thank you very much. Time now to check in with Keith Eichner and the weather. It hasn't started raining yet, and I don't know if it's Monday.